yourself.
Radio UTD.
Opinions expressed on Radio UTD are those of the individual expressing them and are not necessarily those of the University Administration, the Board of Regents of the University of Texas System, or of the operating board of the radio station.
And welcome back to the Mercury Morning News. It is February 18th, 2024, and we're here to talk about all the latest things. Right now, I'm your host, Andre Averion, the Outreach and Distribution Manager of the Mercury newspaper and AMP magazines, and here I am joined with...
Maria Shaikh. I am the opinion editor with the Mercury. Very soon we will be joined by Tyler Viator. He is the station manager?
He is the PSA manager.
Okay, the PSA manager for Radio UTD. He will be joining us soon. But for right now, it's just the two of us today.
Just your lovely Mercury people. And to start things off today, we have a lot of things to talk about for the alumni coming up. Lots of wonderful things have been going on around UTD and outside of UTD. But before that, even, and of course, we'll talk about some things happening on UTD as Sex Week ends. But more importantly, we want to talk about you, Maria. Congratulations on winning the Comet Lore competition.
Thank you.
So, can you tell our viewers more what that is?
Sure. The Comet Lore competition, better known as EROL, was an initiative put together for a little bit of community bonding by student government. This year was the second year in a row that it took place. And EROL is basically a creative writing competition run by student government where students were encouraged to submit the stories that they wrote about, UTD's famous mascots, Timok, Tobor, Inark, and general UTD lore, such as the Squirm Room, the Spirit Rocks, all these kinds of things. And ultimately just craft a story about UTD using iconic UTD figures and mascots. And then all of these stories were basically up against one another in a voting competition where on the subreddit users could vote on which story was best, and then the story with the highest amount of upvotes was selected as the winner. And I believe the winner gets to have their story published in AMP magazine, and they got a little shout out on the student government Instagram page, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, EROL fanfiction contest, that's basically what it is. My entry, which was called Benson Takes the Rocks in the Divorce, was the one that won out of 3 entries total. So I really hope next year we get to see more entries. And I think the reason we didn't see so many this year just because of the timing. Yeah. EROL this year was during December, January, which is final season, and then heal from final season for a lot of people. So
recovery period,
yeah, personal endeavors not super taken up on for something like a fanfiction contest. But next year I'm hoping for more. Should I talk more about the fanfiction specifically?
Yeah, what's your fanfiction about if people haven't read it yet?
Okay. Well, Benson Takes the Rocks in the Divorce is a dramatic reimagining of the removal of the Spirit Rocks as conducted by Student Affairs on November 20th last year. It's basically this dramatic, there are no other adjectives, it's just dramatic. It's Timok and Benson standing in the rain, and Timok is crying, sobbing, and Benson is angrily yelling at him about how and Benson, by the way, being the university president, for those who are unaware. I'm sure we've all heard of him, but just for those who are unaware, And Benson is like yelling at Timok about like, you know, we're getting divorced. I never loved you anyway. I only wanted you for your engineering skills, not your free speech. So then after they get divorced in this super dramatic way, Timok finds out that what he signed on the divorce contracts was full custody of the Spirit Rocks over to Benson, who is now taking them to be like ground up to put in the new student union. And the Spirit Rocks are like anthropomorphized as like their children. So like Timok is helplessly watching as Benson carries away their children. Any resemblance to persons, real or fictional, is completely coincidental. Please don't sue me, Richard Benson. But yeah, that was a blast to get to write. Actually, I think anybody who's Mercury who's listening right now probably remembers when I was writing this. I was writing this on the literally the night of the submission deadline.
Oh my God.
It was like 11:15 p.m. and I was in the management chat. And I think Fatima sent the link to the ERL competition to me. And I'm like, girl, this is due tonight. So they start writing at 11:15 p.m. And I submit the thing onto like the subreddit, which is where all the entries go, at like 11:59 p.m. And like in the meantime, the entire management chat is like cheering me on, like, oh, Maria, you got this. I'm like, thank you. So that was like the perpetual struggle I was facing. And somehow my 45-minute rush job managed to be the one that won. So thank you to all those that believed in me. And thank you to everybody who agrees with my interpretation of the Spirit Rocks being a brutal and terrible divorce, because that's definitely what I was going for. Just like this complete breakdown of trust between like two pivotal members of the UTD community,
Yeah, absolutely. It was great seeing all the different fan fictions pop up. I remember last year I was in the amp room looking over all the different fan fictions. It was so much fun. People are so creative on campus, and I'm ashamed to say I haven't read yours yet.
It's all right.
I'll have to give it a preview when I get back home today. But besides that, I know you talked a little bit about, of course, the Spirit Rocks being removed, and you recently wrote a piece about the recent FIRE rating for UTD. So, for those who don't know, FIRE is the freedom of, I don't know what the full thing is, unfortunately.
The Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression.
Thank you. So, basically, they do a rating for different universities, seeing what that university's tolerance for freedom of speech might look like. And UTD, unfortunately, is in a red light, which is not a great light to have. We've been in the red light for about a year or so, or maybe a little bit longer.
I think since they started tracking UTD's free speech codes, we've been in the red light.
Yeah.
I think the red light rating comes from, and this is like more elaborated in the article that is on the Mercury's website about this issue. The red light rating comes from one of our policies on harassment.
Yes.
Because of its like excessively vague wording that FIRE, which is an organization dedicated to protecting and maintaining free speeches on college campuses, by the way.
Yeah.
FIRE feels that it's too easy to misinterpret.
Yeah, that's basically the adjustment. And to be fair, they did start off with education with college campuses. They've kind of spread throughout the years to do other things, but let's be honest, they're mostly doing education. But yeah, we have different articles. We've been covering that for like months now. But for those interested on like why it was so pivotal that Maria wrote her fan fiction when she did, that's part of the reason. And I'm sure you can catch up on all the old episodes of Mercury Morning News, which haven't been uploaded in forever because of problems, but they're finally coming. It's finally happening. I've been stressing about this for like 3 months. All our old episodes that they were recorded, they just were never uploaded. They should be coming out hopefully by the end of this week. So we should have everything out, including last week's episode. And of course, we'll be having this one come out as soon as possible, once those are all out as well. But not to dwell on the past, let's talk about the future a little bit before we head into our ad break, which is actually we're about to head into our ad break pretty quickly. So in a second, when we come back, we'll talk about more of those amazing alumni that have been impacting UTD, including one guy who managed to make a gaming controller by, you can use a gaming controller by using your feet. And another one where 3 alumni gained a starter ship acceleration from Combinator, Y Combinator. And of course, we'll talk about a wonderful individual I got to talk to who's trying to start up the first Filipino town in North Texas. and bring about a more successful Filipino center. And we'll be back right after I do this quick newsread ad report. All right. It's February 18th, 2024 at the University of Texas at Dallas. Good morning and welcome back to the Mercury Morning News. I'm your reporting host, Andre Averion. Alumni Lana Reid, Isabel Reed, and Miguel Salinas recently set out to streamline mobile app testing with AI through their startup camlQA, which is part of a winning 2024 Y Contributor batch. Y Contributor is a startup accelerator that has launched over 4,000 startups with a combined valuation of $6 million. These have included the likes of starting up Airbnb, DoorDash, Coinbase, Reddit, and Dropbox. This new app, camlQA, is an innovative AI tool that will help software developers test their mobile applications and find software bugs and detailed reporting and documentation to help those developers resolve the bugs. Alumnus Rick Tett recently launched a Kickstarter campaign for a product he named Glider, which introduces a controller that allows you to play video games with your feet, offering a new immersive way to game. This 7-year project ultimately addresses the challenges of awkward movement in virtual reality environments, and it now serves a versatile controller for a wide array of gaming applications, both on platforms of VR and general PC. Alumnus Mark Sampelo began a partnership with the Dallas Mavericks, where a portion of the proceeds starting this April 7th will be going towards the Filipino Community Center and the first ever Filipino town in North Texas. The DFW area has about 80,000 Filipinos, according to the 2020 census, making up nearly 58% of all Filipinos in Texas. Despite the fact that Filipinos are the third most populous Asian ethnicity in the United States, Texas lacks a dedicated center for the Filipino culture. His endeavors have already started up UniPro and PACE, two of the most prestigious Filipino nonprofits in Texas, the latter of which is most famous for the Lone Star Palenque, the largest Filipino market festival in Texas. As Valentine Week comes to a close, so does UTD's Sex Week, an event geared to reducing stigmas against sex education and STDs. A recent study found that Dallas is currently ranked as the 5th highest city for contracting STDs. According to the same study, there are 861 cases of STD for every 100,000 people in Dallas. It's being recommended that Comets can take advantage of the resources provided by the UTD Health Center and Student Wellness Center to provide access to condoms and HIV testing if they're trying to avoid catching anything. This has been the latest news from the Mercury newspaper. Now back to our regularly scheduled program, the Mercury Morning News, at Radio UTD, live every Sunday at 10 a.m. All right, that was exhausting. Hey, welcome back, Todd.
Yeah, hey, sorry about that. So life happens, right?
Yeah.
I was awake at 8 a.m., which on days where I'm not at work at Starbucks at 4 or at school at 8 a.m., is the earliest I have woken up. And life just happened, and I lost track of time. Me and my girlfriend got into a great conversation that we were having, and I just went through it.
So what I'm hearing right now is you'd prefer to talk to her over us?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh
Any
my
day
God.
of the week.
That's a real loyal person right there.
But like, I haven't had a chance to look at the topics we're discussing today. Do you want to kind of give me a brief rundown of what we've talked about so far on the show?
Yeah, so far we talked about Maria's award-winning fan fiction.
Oh,
Award-winning. Thank you.
Technically, it's award-winning. You won the competition, I guess. And then we talked a little bit about. We'll be talking about the alumni's recently mentioned in the newspaper. You can also visit our website, and we'll also be talking a little about what is it? Sex Week on UTD, and basically how STDs have been going around, not going around campus.
STDs are very active,
very
actually.
active. They're actually in costume now.
Oh God.
No, it's funny you say that, Ty. I was like, last night, I thought I was going to be the last person in this office, because I'm like, my friends were like, let's go karaokeing, Andre. Let's go hang out. It was 5 a.m. when I finally got home. I'm like, oh my God.
Respect. And you know what? No, you were still the first person here. And I think that says a lot. That says a lot today.
The dedication.
Yeah.
Nah.
But so have you already talked about your fan fiction?
Yes, I have serenaded my audience plenty with the fan fiction.
Lovely.
I think we can move on to talking about our wonderful alumni and what they've been up to.
Would love to.
Yeah, absolutely. So we made a quick, the first one we talked about, actually, I'm going to skip that. The one I can talk the most about is alumnus Mark Sampelo. I got to talk to him and interview him for that story. Wonderful guy. The story doesn't do enough justice to how just kind he is and how great of a person he is. But for those who haven't been, he's the guy who started up Lone Star Palenque, which is the largest Filipino market festival in Texas. It is amazing. We get to see it. I think there's like over 120 different vendors who are Filipino, spread across DFW. And it's a swell time if you don't get to go. I think it's every October. It's a new thing in Dallas. This is their this will be their third year doing it. And they're already making huge strides.
Yeah, they've got like a crowd of 10,000 that's coming out at this point per year.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And speaking of like big numbers, so I mentioned in the ad read that it was like 80,000, but that's from 2020. When Mark and I talked about it, it's like there could be like 100,000 Filipinos in North Texas at this point. It's growing, it's huge. And again, we don't have a huge community center, like for reference, by the way, I'm Filipino. When I say we, I'm implying this to myself. Yeah. We don't have a huge resource or community center like Carrollton's Korean Town or Richardson's Chinatown or Grand Prairie's Vietnamese Town or what's the other one? Not Grand Prairie. Garland's Vietnamese Town. So hopefully that'll start up the first one. Because like for me, like I grew up in Fort Worth. There was only like one Filipino store by me, and if I wanted to get to anything else, I'd have to drive like 30 minutes to go find something. So hopefully this will help center everything. This is mostly being done by Pace, which he also co-founded. They're nonprofit. Pretty much none of the money goes to them. And there's been a few news reportings talking about them and everything they do. But, if you're ever interested, I think they're going to be opening their website soon. So you can, if you need volunteer hours, if you need to reach out, or you're just interested in community help, that's something to keep an eye out. I know once they get the Filipino Center up, which can happen within the next 10 years, that's the deadline they set with themselves, they'll be trying to make new jobs in the market for different individuals. So if you're Filipino, that's something to look out for. If you're not Filipino, you can still look out for it. Because I'll tell you this now, this is a hot take. I think Filipino food is the best Asian cuisine. Korean's it's second. It's really
pretty close.
It's pretty close.
You can't be saying this around me, guys. Okay, sure. I'll let the Filipinos have this one.
My girlfriend is Bengali, and I think I would be remiss to say if like Bengali, like Indian food isn't like third there.
Yeah, no.
At least third.
Yeah.
No, Bengali food's delicious. Yeah, no, honestly, all Asian food's good. Just try it, bro. If you haven't yet, I don't know how you're living.
Like, I don't know how someone just goes through life just eating burgers and hot dogs and, like, you go to, like, the Italian restaurant every once in a while to feel cultured, the Olive Garden
fancy,
unlimited breadsticks.
No, this is what I've been wondering for my entire life. I still don't understand what Americans eat. Like, on a daily basis, I ask every single American friend that I have what they eat, and they look at me like, I don't know either. And so I have just never figured it out.
Every American dinner is girl dinner.
That's so true. That's why every American's like, oh, McNuggies,
Yeah. Wait, so I was reading on this. Mark Sampelo was the president of our FSA, right?
Yes. So, as a former FSA executive member, Mark Sampelo was one of the first FSA Filipino presidents, and he basically wanted to bring the Filipino back to FSA.
Right.
For those who don't know, the Filipino Student Association, most people in there are not Filipino, but that's okay. It's about spreading the culture, giving the awareness, and letting people know about what we kind of do. He introduced a lot of new things, like the first ever field days. Shortly after, I think VSA and CSA started copying that because it was a good idea.
Yeah.
the national anthems. We started doing Bayakban donation boxes, which for those who don't know.
We're Glaze, and you're listening to Radio UTD.
It's always Glaze. It's always Glaze jump scaring me. Anyway, sorry.
Back to glazing.
Not to. Anyway, so, oh god, my voice is so gone from last night. So, what Bayan boxes are basically, they're these huge donation boxes that are shipped through freighter planes or freighter ships that basically give back to the community of the Philippines. Just because the Philippines has a huge population, but it's such a tiny archipelago in comparison. So sometimes resources are sent by family, friends, or anything else. And a few other things. He also redefined stuff for SIFA, which is the overarching thing for the Filipino Student Association across all Texas groups, and Oklahoma and Louisiana and Arkansas. I think Alabama's in there. I'm not sure. But basically, I don't even know if there's Filipinos in Alabama. Anyway, sorry.
There are
Side
any.
tangent.
There are actually none.
There are none. They do not exist. I don't believe it.
No, I really love our FSA on campus.
Mm-hmm.
They're the most active organization of students. I feel
they're pretty. The reason they got so big is everyone's super engaged there. If the best way to look at it, if you're wanting to join specifically an East Asian organization, Filipino Student Association, Chinese Student Association, and the Vietnamese Student Association are the three big ones to go for.
Yeah.
You can join the others, absolutely, you should.
I just feel like there isn't as much as a presence as like a JSA or like a.
Yeah.
Actually, I went to a PSA event.
Really?
Yeah, the Pakistani Student Association. I went to one of them my freshman year. I think it was a mock Mendi. And it was so interesting. It was very fun to watch everyone kind of get together and celebrate. It was a lot of dancing, a lot of partying, and it was I was the only white person in the room, and I was the only person not wearing traditional clothes, so I felt very much out of my element, but it was very kind. They were all very nice to me, and it was very sweet.
Absolutely. PSA and the Indian Student Association, and I think the Arabic Student Association, they're super active on campus too. I don't know if the Arabic one is as much, but I know ISA and PSA are hugely active. I'd say they're probably more of the big three than the East Asian orgs.
Yeah.
But I mean, those are also BSA, the Bangladesh Student Organization. There's a bunch of different student organizations. They're all active in their own way, and they do a lot. I think sometimes if you're not a part of an organization, you kind of skip and forget that
you're losing
so much. Yeah.
You're losing out on a lot of the culture and camaraderie on campus. It's there's always these posts on Reddit or posts on UTD forums oh, UTD is such an antisocial school. It's a school where no one is wanting to go out or see anyone. It's well, it's because you're in your room, not going out, not seeing people. The experience here is definitely what you make it.
Yeah.
As someone who is kind of I'm an introvert, I don't like talking to people. You go out and if you want to have that kind of social life, you want to have that kind of experience at college, you go out and you create it, you find it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I'll also agree to. It's every time I see someone, every year, someone will say on Reddit there's no social life at UTD, and sure enough, but you can always find a different organization. There are people who want to talk, be social, and even if they don't want to, they'll still come out.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason I stayed in student media so long. This is a very active organization, technically department, and it's we're
Here's
hanging
your
out.
weekly propaganda to join student media.
Absolutely, woo! We can all attest. We're all stuck here.
This is not by choice.
This is not.
They keep you once you walk in.
I really liked what Sampelo says here at the end. If there's no seat at the table, why not make your own table?
Yeah,
This, in regards to what he's doing, because we do have the Chinatown, the Koreatown in Carrollton. But like he said, there is no Filipino town. There's no central org for that. It looks like in North Texas.
Not yet. Yeah. So PACE is trying to be that new organization. There used to be a Filipino community center, but so initially they were in Carrollton, and it was going to be where the Carrollton Dart Station is.
Okay.
But a domain thing is, I can't remember what it was. Eminent Domain basically said, "Hey, sorry guys, you have to move." The Dart Station was put there instead. and this organization had to move all the way over to South Dallas, and not a lot of people want to visit South Dallas, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So it kind of fell through. They're still active today, not really that much, but it's basically a ballroom at this point. Love them to death, but no one goes, and because no one goes, they decided to refocus their intentions on the Houston community, which is also a big Filipino population, and also move their stuff over to the actual Philippines, which is, that's great that they're doing that, but that kind of left Dallas as a dried well. So Pace is hopefully picking up the actual pace for that. No pun intended, but it was entirely intended. But yeah, that's just one of the many things one of our wonderful alumni have been doing. I love the comments popping off. Someone, I know who, but I'm not going to say. They love their wholesome cultural content. And yeah, they agree with our take on UTD social life. This isn't a hot take. This is what everyone thinks.
Yeah, everyone thinks this.
Yeah.
It's genuinely just the, like, I don't want to call them, like, incels or anything.
The Reddit users?
Yeah, the Reddit users. They go on there and be like, that's literally.
Yeah, literally everybody else is too busy having fun to go complain on Reddit. So don't take this subreddit as a representation of UTD, please.
Yeah. Those are the hot takes, we'll be honest there.
Yeah.
Most people in UTD are fine or having a good time. As much as I love to slander UTD, it's not that bad.
No.
It really isn't. And I think you'll find a lot of life-changing things here, whether that's in your career or just your social life. It's a huge jump.
And UTD alumni do it right. Like, we had so much, like, information this week pop off about them. Like, I'd like to talk a little bit about that new controller that they've created.
Yeah.
That's so sick. Because, I mean, everyone knows about using foot pedals, right? Like, you'd buy, like, foot pedals that plug into your computer, and you use them to, like, mute yourself. Or, like, you'll use them as, like, another input in the game. But Glider almost seems like it's now made to be, like, a multiple input device.
Yeah. If you've seen the picture, which is also on the story, it's really interesting. It kind of looks like a hoverboard, really enough, or something you'd see out of DDR. But it's really interesting. This comes up now. I know Disney just recently worked on like their own version of this.
Oh, what?
It's like a treadmill thing. I don't know.
A treadmill?
Yeah,
thing?
it's like you can put on the VR headset and you're on a treadmill, and it's supposed to be like you can interact with like the different Disney parks or something. But I like this interpretation a lot better. It seems like there's a lot more movement and adjustability, because it's right, when you're playing VR games, it's awkward as hell not to take an actual step.
Yeah.
I had one of my friends almost like walk off a balcony. Well, not walk off a balcony, but he walked onto the balcony because he was playing Beat Saber. He wanted to actually move.
I get it.
So actually adding that movement is going to be super nice, even for like PC games.
Yeah.
Imagine like playing Don't Scream or something, and you actually have to move. For
Oh,
horror
God.
games, that's going to be awesome.
I'm looking at this image and I'm just curious about how it's going to move, because like I haven't watched any of the videos or anything, but it looks like it has like a button press on this side. I wonder if it goes forward, backwards, if you can turn with it. Like, these are all like it's a very interesting looking contraption. I can't wait to when it goes on the market, because it looks like it's just in Patreon, like Kickstarter page right now. So we'll see. Oh, reserve yours today.
Sorry, the comments are so funny. Someone really loved your meowing to represent the incels of UTD.
Oh, that. Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry, Zara. I'll give you a shout out. She's wonderful. She's the one who left the first two comments I talked about.
Yeah, Zara is fantastic.
I just
Shout
wanna
out to our programming director here at Radio UTD.
She saved the show this morning, by the way.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. So like the tuner just wasn't tuning, unfortunately. I think she explained it was something about the weather from last Friday. The internet went out at UTD, and it just never clicked back into shape here.
Wait, that's weird, because we've had shows all this week.
Yeah, this weekend, I guess it was just like muted.
Oh, okay.
But now it works.
That's
good. This morning was so wild. Ty was missing. The tuner wasn't working. I'm like, oh man.
It's been it was rough. Oh, okay. Sorry, I found a video of how it works.
Oh, really?
I went to their Kickstarter. Yeah, wait, that's really interesting.
How does it work?
It's like it has different inputs for both feet. It can go back, forward, push both back, forward. It can't turn, it looks like, but it looks like there's like inputs on. It's like an omnidirectional input on both feet. Interesting.
That's really cool. I don't think we've name dropped this alumnus yet. We keep talking about him and his invention. His name is Rick Tett. It's in our news article that we published in the Mercury. And right now this project is in the Kickstarter stage of development. So they've raised about, let me see here.
It was like 65,000?
Yeah, 65,000 in funding. And this is basically taking it from like, okay, we have one proof of concept to, okay, we're now going to actually mass produce this and send it off to people and start marketing this as a product. So that's like the transitional stage they're in right now. And apparently you can get your pre-order in if you donate to their Kickstarter right now.
Ooh, nice. I'm trying to think what games would be fantastic. I mentioned Don't Scream. That's still in development. Lethal Company. I'd fall off every time.
I cannot jump in Lethal Company. Like those, you know the jumps like when you're in the thing? Those kill me every time.
I used to be good at them, and then whenever they fixed the bug of the thumper being able to not hit you on the railing, that made me panic more, so I'd be like, and just fall off the bridge.
Oh, no.
God, I need to get back on that game. I need to get back on a lot of games, actually.
They're, in the Kickstarter, they're playing Risk of Rain 2.
Ooh.
That seems interesting, because it's like, it's more so just doing movement with your feet. So it looks like their left foot is like tied to their forward, back, and left and right movement.
Okay, gotcha. I wonder if that just completely removes the need for like the WASD.
I feel like that would make it really awkward to play.
Well, yeah, because we're really used to WASD. So like, I think for VR that makes sense, but for like PC,
they do have a configurator, like a that sets your profile, and they have like pre-made profiles for different games. So maybe they have like kind of an idea of what like it can be used for.
Oh yeah, like how each game can be best, how the
be best experience.
Yeah, basically. There we go. That makes a lot of sense. And yeah, this device isn't meant to like replace a keyboard or a gaming mouse or anything like this. It's rather meant to complement it. So the future of video game controllers is not in your feet. That's not the point of this device. Rather, we should emphasize that it's supposed to like create a more immersive experience overall. And yeah, it is geared more towards VR than to like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Listen, I could tap to bring up the cameras. I don't know.
Tap dancing against Freddy Fazbear. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. But I don't know how to segue for this. Speaking of Freddy Fazbear, Valentine's. Not kidding.
No, wait, those are fantastic segues. I get it.
Anyway, Valentine's week just concluded. I hope everyone had a great day celebrating, whether you were alone or not. You know, we ain't haters. Celebrate the way you want. But, you know, like we talked about, UTD is wrapping up their sex week, which had some of the most maybe outrageous event names ever. I was on Instagram, and the first thing I saw on my feed was UT Dallas sex games. I'm like, excuse me. So they always have really. I remember like one year. What was it? It was like it was a Star Wars themed condom party. UTD, the health center and the wellness center have really interesting ways of promoting. It works though. It's really good. But as sex education, the week of sex education comes to an end. You know, as we mentioned in the report, UTD, Dallas is number 50 for contracted STDs. Just be careful.
Let's go, number 50. Let's go.
You were ranked.
How? Yeah, top 50 in the world. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. But yeah, this is not a good thing. Sorry to kill the joke, but we must emphasize this is not a win.
Yeah, it's like being good at Overwatch.
Oh my god. Okay, here's some more statistics for the crowd. For every 100,000 Dallasites, I hate that word. For every 100,000 people who live in Dallas, 861 have at least one STD. The most common sexually transmitted disease for people to have here is chlamydia, with 65% of people who have an STD having chlamydia. The second highest percentage is gonorrhea at 31%, and then syphilis and HIV tie just 2% of STD holders. And we are obligated to tell you, abstinence does keep you safe, but also use condoms, use dental dams, get tested regularly, and overall be careful. I mean, we're not here to judge your Valentine's Day or whatever comes before or after, but it's important that you know what you're dealing with out here on these streets, you know?
The streets. Oh, no. Anyway, thank you for whoever made the comment for power ranking. That's phenomenal. But yeah, speaking of power ranking and winning things, the Y Contributor team that won from our 3 alumni, congratulations to them. Their new AI app sounds wonderful.
What is it?
Basically, it's supposed to do a full diagnostic of your app and find all the bugs in a detailed report and file everything else you need for it to help you find solutions for anything going on. So that way, you know, other apps might not have problems. They can develop from there, and this can be used for maybe hopefully student appliances.
Oh.
If anyone's trying to develop apps.
Yeah. Are you talking about Y Combinator?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, for those who didn't hear earlier, those are the people who started up, helped start up, like Reddit, Dropbox, Airbnb, all those lovely places.
Yeah, basically to explain a little further, Y Combinator is a startup accelerator, which basically means they take a little fledgling company and throw smart people and investment capital at it until it becomes a big company. And this happens over, like, I guess a 3-month or so development period. But basically, yeah, like little things like fledgling Reddit, Dropbox, all of these things started as, you know, little babies. Then they went into the Y Combinator, which is like a really selective and kind of like difficult to get into kind of program. Then they came out as tech giants. So, you know, that's really good for camlQA and their team, which is, as we've discussed, basically...
camlQA, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, is that not what I said?
Oh, sorry, maybe you did. My brain snapped. Okay,
You're literally good. I am like at least 80% sure I didn't say. But camlQA, their whole thing, like we said, is basically software bugs, finding them through AI tools. And it's really cool that we were able to develop this as a tech school. I feel like even though we are such a STEMmy school, a lot of our wins are like in really esoteric technologies. But this is something that everybody can see the benefit of really clearly. And I have to emphasize, getting into Y Combinator is like a really difficult task. So that alone is like a huge win for our people. And they deserve some shout outs. Let me read out their names here because they deserve some mentions.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job. I feel like we're going to be hearing about them going, like, for the next few generations of UTD. We'll be hearing about them for those new students.
Oh, yeah. So these are our alumni, Ileana Reed, Isabella Reed, and Miguel Salinas. Thank you for your hard work, and we wish your startup the best of success.
All right. Well, we're about to head the end of our podcast today. Episode. So we have just a few more minutes. I don't know. We could kind of just talk about anything just the next 2 minutes.
I kind of wanted to spend some time with our breakup story that we did at the Mercury and read out some of the...
Let's speed the
I literally have it up.
I'm going to read out some of those graphics. So, okay, for some context to our lovely listeners, the Mercury recently did a survey where we asked people, hey, got any messy breakup stories? Tell us how that went. Well, there was more to the survey than that, but honestly, everybody at the office was mainly here for the messy breakup stories. So I'm going to read out some very interesting submissions that we got from you lovely people at UT Dallas. Thank you for sharing your drama and your messiness with us, because we absolutely delighted in hearing about it. First, we're going to share out some quick statistics. 34% of people felt ambivalent or mixed about their breakup. 32% that their breakup was messy, and about 30% of breakups were due to a loss of feelings plus general incompatibility. Okay, I'm gonna start on the right-hand side of the page and then kind of move up to the purple on the left. And this is like the thumbnail of the breakup story on the Mercury website if anyone's following along from home. Would you consider the breakup messy? Was one of the questions we asked. And one of the iconic statements that we got in return was, she accused me of slashing her tires and then came over to my house with her brother expecting us to fight. Iconic. I hate that for you. Other breakup reasons included, he had a swastika in his Minecraft world and I got mad at him. He didn't like that. This is actually elaborated upon in our story, in our main article a little bit more, where the person who submitted this as her breakup story said he had this dungeon thing. Yes.
It's like, I think we have an ad coming up.
Okay.
This is Beto O'Rourke reminding you to keep tuned in to UTD Radio and to share with you that if ever there was a time to get registered, to vote, to turn out, and have your voice heard, it is now.
Okay, if you like those, we're actually about to head to our music segment. If you like those stories and want to hear more of them, you can find on our website or leave a comment either on the radio comment section now or on the video when it comes up. If you want to hear more about the breakup sessions and even our dirty breakups, I'm kidding. I don't know if we'll talk about that.
God.
I'll talk about mine. Anyway, we love you. Thank you for joining us and have a wonderful day. Good luck and goodbye.
Anywhere that you wanted to go, girl, I put it in the GPS. Gun on my side. Anybody that gave you a problem, I put a bullet hole in their chest. Hidden, baby, use a kitten. Wanna get you home, put your booty on the kitchen table. If you willing, able, I could swing through and put some ponies in the stable. We'd ride anywhere that you wanted to go, girl. I put it on that GPS. Sun on the rise. Anybody that gave you a problem, I put a kitchen knife in their neck, baby. You the type of girl that makes me wanna go. Slow down, wait a minute. You and I should steal a car and hit the road. Load out, we're like Bonnie and Clyde. A bag full of money in the trunk, girl, partners in crime. Whenever you want, girl, I'm ready to die. Oh yeah. In and out of lanes on the run, heading south on the 5. Just like Bonnie and Clyde. I was thinking about getting rich and taking this thing down to California. You and I in the whip, my Mallory, your Mickey, the love of my life. Anything that you wanted to get, girl, you ain't even got to ask. Running the night, anybody that wanted to stop us, I put some buckshot in they ass. Test me now. You the type of girl that makes me wanna go. Slow down, wait a minute. You and I should steal a car and hit the road. Load out, we're like Bonnie and Clyde. A bag full of money in the trunk, girl, partners in crime. Whenever you want, girl, I'm ready to die. Oh yeah. In and out of lanes on the run, heading south on the 5. Just like Bonnie and Clyde. Now wait a minute. You know I love the shit out of you, baby. Come on. And I was thinking about wedding rings and shooting our way straight across the border. You and I ain't a better thing. They'll tell us we're crazy, but they don't know what it's like. Anytime that you wanted it, baby, I put it on you just like that. Loving you right. Anybody that looked at you funny, I'd hit him with a baseball bat. And that's the truth. You the type of girl that makes me wanna go. Slow down, wait a minute. You and I should steal a car and hit the road. Load out, we're like Bonnie and Clyde. A bag full of money in the trunk, girl, partners in crime. Whenever you want, girl, I'm ready to die. Oh yeah. In and out of lanes on the run, heading south on the 5. Just like Bonnie and Clyde.
Never thought that I'd be broken. I never thought I'd write this song, tell the world what's going on. Never thought that I'd be done this way. Boy, you really done me good. Oh boy, you done me wrong. I never thought I'd be mistaken. kiss under the stars. Here's to your